Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a really unique approach to coding with Ken Youens-Clark's book, Python for Beginners. Look, if you're kind of tired of those dry, textbook-style tutorials, the ones that practically put you to sleep, you are absolutely going to love the energy we're exploring today. Let's just dive right in. So what's actually the hardest part of learning a new programming language? Seriously, think about it for a second. Because for so many of us, it isn't the basic syntax, right? You finish those beginner tutorials, you figure out, okay, here's a loop, here's how to declare a variable, but then nothing. You get completely stuck in what I like to call beginner's purgatory. You have all these puzzle pieces, but you feel literally frozen when you try to sit down and build actual working software from scratch. To completely rescue us from that purgatory, the author takes a totally different route. And you kind of get a hint of this right away from the cover art, which features this vintage 18th century illustration of a walking Turkish woman. It really stands out from your typical boring computer science manual, right? Well, the core philosophy here is simple. We shouldn't be learning in a vacuum. Instead, this whole methodology is about learning to program by building fun minigames and solving puzzles. It puts context and honestly just pure fun right front and center. The real game changer here is the approach itself. Instead of that classic dead-end Hello World tutorial, the one, it just prints a line and leaves you going, okay, now what? This material has a specific solution. Almost immediately, you're forced to write complete programs that actually take real arguments from the command line and do something useful. So you aren't just writing these tiny, isolated snippets, you're building real, functional software from the absolute jump.
Section 1. Learning through games.
This methodology completely solves the standard textbook boredom by replacing abstract theory with playful logic puzzles that really keep you on your toes. I mean, just look at this list of projects. Instead of calculating, boring math equations, you're going to build an insult generator that spits out random Shakespearean burns. No way, right? You'll write code that literally sings the 99 Bottles of Beer song, program a fully working Tic-Tac-Toe game, and even create a ransom program that randomly capitalizes letters so your text looks like a classic ransom note. It is so much fun, and it proves that learning complex syntax doesn't have to be a slog at all. Now let's take a quick pause to add some real historical weight to this. Codes are a puzzle. Like a game, any other game. That's a direct quote from Alan Turing, the legendary genius who cracked the Enigma code in World War II. Elevating these little mini-games to a noble pursuit of logic, well, it reminds us that every time we figure out how to generate a random insult or scrabble a word, we're exercising the exact same problem-solving muscles used to crack the world's toughest ciphers. Section 2. The power of the command line. Now, you might be wondering, if we're building all these fun games, why aren't we using flashy 3D graphics? Well, by intentionally stripping away all that bloated graphics programming, tools like PyCharm, VS Code, or honestly just a simple terminal, keep your code super lean. You're dealing strictly with pure, clean inputs and outputs. Your focus stays exactly where it needs to be, on the fundamental logic of the application. Plus, this guarantees your programs will work identically whether you're on a Mac, a Linux machine, or Windows. It's a universal standard, and that is just incredibly empowering when you're a beginner. Section 3. Test-driven development. Okay, this concept is absolutely crucial. It's the real climax of this explainer and a total mindset shift for any aspiring programmer. Test-driven development, or TDD for short, basically means writing the tests for a program before you actually write the program itself. I know, actually, scratch that. It sounds completely backwards at first. Why test something that doesn't even exist yet? But in TDD, tests aren't just an afterthought. They aren't some chore you do at the very end to double-check your work. They act as the literal, strict specification for what correct software is actually supposed to look like. So, you'll be living in this continuous little loop. Step 1, you write the test and you watch it fail. Step 2, you write the absolute minimum amount of code to fix it. And step 3, you watch the test pass. The author actually provides around 250 of these tests using a cool tool called PyTest. The key here is you have to embrace that failing test. It is not a mistake, it's a natural stepping stone that tells you exactly what to do next. Once all those tests finally pass, you have 100% verified confidence that your code works perfectly. Section 4. Practice, practice, practice. To truly master all of this, the author brings up the setup to that famous classic musician's joke. Imagine a young, eager musician on the streets of New York, violin case in hand. They stop a passerby and ask, "Excuse me, how do I get to Carnegie Hall?" And the punchline, of course, is practice. The reality is just reading a book about Python is never going to be enough. You've got to put in the reps, working through these short puzzles, spending the hours, the weeks, or even months writing code,
totally messing up and then fixing those mistakes, that's the whole shebang. That is the only way to level up and build real, undeniable confidence in your skills. The author even suggests going back to old puzzles later just to see if you can solve them faster, or maybe use some fancy new techniques you picked up. Look, learning to code doesn't have to be a miserable slog, but it absolutely requires action. We've seen how mini-games keep it highly engaging and how test-driven development keeps it professional and functional. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to write your first test? Go get your code editor open, embrace those puzzles, and start turning those failing tests into passing code. You've totally got this. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next explainer.